this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So we're here for another one of our mass making sessions. We are up to week number 223, would you believe? So for those people who don't watch my channel, we are doing reruns. So we did weeks 1 to 100, we did weeks 100 to 200, and now we're doing the third lot of reruns. So what are we making this week? We are making hand-stitched fabric ruffles for your junk journals. So we have got, or sorry, if you want to, craft along today, what you're going to need is a bunch of fabrics. Now, I do have the fabric scrap packs still available on my shabbydabbydoodah.co.uk website. So if you, are looking for some scrap fabrics, I've got some on there. I have got a bunch of fabric scraps here. So you will need a bunch of fabric scraps. You will need some scissors. You can use, normal straight edge scissors. You could use your pinking shears, however you like, really. I tend to use straight edge scissors for these, it's got to be said. But obviously, experiment around and see what you like. You're going to need some needle and thread. Now, I have threaded 4 needles with quite a bit of thread. So hopefully I'm not going to have to be threading too many times throughout this video. I've got black thread here. That's just because that's what I, happen to have to hand. Obviously, you can use, whatever colour that you like, really. That, I think, is pretty much all you're going to need. And then once your fabric ruffles are done, you may want to decorate them up with maybe like a button or something like that. Personally, I just leave mine until I'm coming to use them, really. And then, if I want to add something when I use it, then I add it at that point. So yeah, we're just going to get mass making some of these. Now, the only thing that I would kind of advise on the fabric front is you're going to probably want to use thinner fabrics. So the majority of my fabrics here, or all of the fabrics here, sorry, they are all thinner cotton fabrics. The only fabric that I've got that's thicker is this one, which is a bit of a sort of woven cotton. I haven't ever tried the hand stitched ruffles on fabric as thick as this. Hopefully it's still going to be fine, but definitely, thin cotton fabric. And when I say that, I mean, I'm kind of talking, like duvet cover fabrics, that type of thing. That's absolutely perfect for this. The fabric scraps, you're not going to want them too big, obviously, depending on the length you want your ruffles. So I tend to make my, my fabric ruffles, hand-stitched ones, quite tiny, just so that I would stick them onto a pocket as, a little tiny piece. Again, it's up to you. You may like to have them, long ones. Personally, I wouldn't have them where I need to then cut them down, only because the hand stitching, I'm not sure would hold together if you cut it. So whereas the machine stitched ruffles, you could cut them, I'm not sure that the hand stitched ruffles would be, quite so good. So that's kind of all there is to say, really. So let's get making a couple. Now, the only other thing that I would say is I tend to cut these rather than tear them. So on the whole, I quite like frayed fabric edges. But for these, I probably prefer to cut them because they're only tiny. If you've got, lots of fray, or sometimes, where it goes a little bit kind of curly on the edges when you've torn fabric, that's going to possibly encroach on your, your ruffle, if you see what I mean. So I like to just cut them, and then that's how I find, that I get the best results. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your fabric. This is, let's have a look, 7 inches. This one, 7 inches. That's probably as long as I want them. I probably don't really want them much longer than that. And then all you're going to do, you're going to take it at one end. Now, I'm right-handed, so I kind of do these this way round. If you're left-handed, you may work the other way. Or, maybe you'd work the other way anyway. But I'm just kind of showing you, how I get started. So I take my end like this and I fold the first ruffle over like that. And then I'm just going to go through, like that, to secure my first fold down. Okay, now I like to go like this. So I start it off here nearer the folded edge on the underneath, and then I go in with my stitch on the underneath fabric at the edge of the fold. So I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to show you the next fold. I try and fold it over, you know, over the previous fold, if you see what I mean. So I've got a bit of an overlap there. And then again, what I do, oops, I take my stitch and I go to the edge of the stitch, of the fold on the underneath, and then I go to the underneath fabric. Just show you this up close, hopefully you can see that. The underneath fabric, like that. And that then holds your pleat down really nicely. There may be other ways to do this, you know, I don't know. This is just my method, and yeah, I just kind of sharing what I find easiest to do. But of course, you know, if you've got a better method, then, you know, obviously use the method that suits you. This is, I find, a good way to do it, and you know, it always seems to work for me. The only other thing is I would try not to, or not, sorry, not try not. I wouldn't get hung up, sorry, not try not. I wouldn't get hung up on keeping them too straight. So if you can see here, my ruffle now, it's not straight, it's gone off at a slight curve. Personally, I think that looks very cute. So again, don't get too hung up at, you know, trying to keep your fabric completely straight. Go with the flow and just, you know, kind of, yeah, just wing it to some extent. And that's it. And then I just knock my fabric off, or my thread off. Again, I mean, maybe you don't have to do this. Maybe you could just go through with your thread a couple of times, and that would save you, you know, save you even knotting it off, to be honest. But there we go, and that's it. That's my little hand stitch ruffle. Aren't they so cute? So I'm going to show you another one in sort of close proximity so that you can see how I've made them, and then hopefully I'll have shown you kind of enough, and then we can just get on and kind of assembly line these. And when I say that, what I'm saying is I will cut all my strips down and then, you know, just stitch them all in one go, and then yeah, we can just relax and have a catch up. So I'm just knotting my thread off again. Okay, take my fabric, cut it down. So as you can see, you know, not very wide at all. I mean, that's probably not even an inch wide, you know, maybe like 2/3 of an inch, like that. Okay, again, put it here, fold my first fold, oops, over like that. Okay, take my thread, put my thread, remember, at the back of that fold here on the underneath, and then going through to the edge of the top fold, but on the underneath fabric, take my needle through like that, fold my next fold, and again go through to the back, and then like that to the underneath fabric. Take my next fold, again going to the back of that pleat or fold, and then going through to the front of that fabric there, like that. Again, so I'm just going to show you this one from the back again. So I've gone through the back of the pleat, the back there of that folded piece, and then at the front, you know, of the fabric that's come through there, I go to the front of the fold and go through the underneath fabric like that. Okay, and then the last one here, just go straight down, and then again like that. That's literally all there is to them. I tend to try and leave like a little bit of a tail on them. I think that looks quite cute, but again, you know, it's all just personal choice. So this one, I'll save you the pain of me keep on threading my needle through, and I'll just kind of stitch this off a couple of times, and then that, yeah, saves knotting the thread. I tend to knot it really because I just always think, oh, it might come undone. But yeah, I mean, that's something from when I was a child, probably, when I used to do, well, not that I used to do sewing, but you know, kind of if you used to sew anything as a child. So there we go. Aren't they so cute? And obviously if you've done your fabric a little bit wide or anything like that, you could always trim them down now. I have done that lots of times in the past. You know, what I would say is you're better off putting your fabric too wide and then trimming it down than doing it too slim and then thinking, oh gosh, you know, that's like a little skinny, you know, puny thing. Right, not got a lot of thread on there, so I might have to end up threading my needle many times. So that's a bit of a shame, isn't it? Right, let's bring in some more. So I'm going to cut all my fabrics down into little strips that I'm going to use. So this one, I might not get 3 strips out of this. I might do. Let's have a look. Oh, I might do actually. At first I thought, oh, that's quite narrow, but no, I will do. So there we go. I did iron all my fabrics before starting the video, which that's very unusual for me to have ironed them. So yeah, kind of making the most of my ironed fabrics. So this is quite long. Oh, actually it's not. No, it's not. It's not quite long. It looked like it was long, but no, it's not really. And this is the fabric that, like I said, it's not as thin as I've normally used. So I'm only going to cut this one down first because, you know, if for any reason I don't like it, I don't want to have kind of wasted all of the fabric only to find that actually it's not really suitable for these. So this one is a bit of a silky fabric. So again, I'm going to just try one because I might find it quite slippery and hard to stitch through. So I'll just put that to the side. This one here, this I got from the lovely Laura. It was in a Happy Mail. Isn't this the most lovely fabric? Now I would think that this was vintage. It looks very pretty, and it had some lace on the edge, which is why it's, you know, got that curvy edge, because I had to cut it off of the lace edge. But I really love this roses print. It's very pretty, isn't it? And this one is folded over, so I've just got a fold here. So I'm going to just quickly cut down here on this edge along that fold. There we go. Right, I shall stop chatting us through, and yeah, let's just relax, have a nice time for the next kind of 45 minutes or so. So I hope everybody is doing well. I hope your week has started out well. If you watch my videos, you will know that I generally film these on a Monday to go up for you guys on the Tuesday. So my day's obviously only just started. That being said, I'm filming it slightly later than normal. So yeah, it's not lunchtime, but it's getting on for lunchtime. So heading towards lunchtime. Just move those ones out of the way. Yeah, heading towards lunchtime. So let me just trim this edge up because it's my shoddy cutting here. And I'll do some in this. Isn't this a lovely fabric? So it's looking quite grey and overcast outside. Had a mixed bag weather-wise again. So yeah, it was really hot many days last week. So yeah, it was absolutely gorgeous on many of the days. And then just the weekend again was pretty rubbish. We seem to be in this kind of zone of where we can't have kind of nice weather for the weekends, so that's all a bit of a shame really, but you know, it was okay. But yeah, not what you'd hope for this time of year. So yeah, a bit disappointing all really, but it was okay. So I mean, I just worked really yesterday. It was my daughter's, you know, she went to her dad's house, and yeah, my sons were both out. Well, my middle son, he came back actually kind of like midway through the day. So then we just did some chores and things like that. We had to go and change our mobile phone contracts, which hadn't realised they'd been ripping me off for ages. So yeah, had to kind of sort that out. I didn't really know, you know, you couldn't really understand the bill. And, you know, I'd been paying like quite a lot. And yeah, I didn't really know why. So we finally went and sorted that out. I needed my son with me because obviously one of the phones is his phone. So yeah, we just kind of had to, you know, sort it out together really. So anyway, we did that. So we did kind of, you know, make a good use of our time. Oh, sorry about that. So yeah, anyway, hopefully we've sorted that out now. Well, actually, as it happens, we couldn't sort his out because he's not 18 yet. So he's going to then take over his own, you know, paying for his own phone. So they said we're still going to have to come back in when he actually turns 18. So actually, there's only kind of a month now left to run before he's 18. So we're going to have to keep his on the extortionate rate for another month. And then we'll, you know, we'll change it over then. So yeah, we'll see anyway. But at least I've managed to sort mine out. So that's one less, you know. So that was good. There we go. Oh, what have I been watching? So I've watched a lot of good things. So yeah, through the week I kept thinking, oh, I must remember to talk about this. Now, can I remember them all, I wonder? Okay. So one of the things that I watched was it was called I Am Seline, and it was the Seline Dion documentary on, oh, let me think. I think it was Amazon Prime. It wasn't Netflix. It was Amazon Prime. It was so good. It was obviously Seline Dion. Yeah, so kind of documentary about her and, you know, her life, obviously. It was really excellent. Really, really good. I have to say, I mean, if you haven't watched it and you're going to tune into it, I just want to say the last 10 minutes of the, you know, the documentary is very kind of intense. It's because obviously she's ill with the disorder. It's called stiff person syndrome. So she kept she kept kind of referring to it as like a abbreviation, but I don't feel like it was stiff person syndrome, SPS. I don't feel like she said that, but she may have done. Anyway, she has got that disorder, and you know, I didn't really know anything about that, to be honest, until watching the documentary. Wow. So towards the end, she has, like, you know, what can only be called like a sort of seizure thing, like a spasm type thing connected with her illness. Oh my goodness, it was so horrendous to watch it. I mean, I actually thought she might have died, to be honest, because it was so, I mean, obviously she was in pain, and she seemed to kind of like be completely unconscious for a time. And whoever it was who was kind of like assisting her, you know, like her assistant or her, you know, medical team or whatever. I mean, he had to literally say to her at one point, you know, if you can hear me, Seline, if you can hear me, Seline, you know, squeeze my hand, or if you're in pain, squeeze my hand. And she did. And he said, that's okay, you're still with us. So the fact he said you're still with us, I thought, oh my goodness. I mean, you know, could she actually die from that spasm kind of seizure thing? I don't really know, but it was very, very stressful to watch, you know, very kind of, distressing to watch, to be honest. I mean, what a poor, brave lady to have that, you know, awful syndrome that she's kind of struggling with, because, yeah, she kind of obviously was dealing with it, you know, with such kind of, yeah, bravery and things. And, oh, just horrible. I mean, watching the kind of seizure thing itself, absolutely horrendous. You know, I mean, clearly very, very, you know, very intense, very painful, very, you know, scary, all of those things. So yeah, it was quite shocking. I mean, I was watching it, you know, on my own, and I mean, my son was upstairs in his room, and I messaged him and just said, oh my goodness, you know, I'm just watching that Seline documentary, because I told him about it and said, oh, it's really good. So yeah, I just then messaged him and I said, oh my goodness, you know, just watching that Seline documentary, wow, horrendous, you know, just horrendous kind of, you know, last 10 minutes. And I also messaged my sister because I told her about it and said, oh, I'm watching this, it's really good. You know, because I started it the day before and, you know, of course, then fell asleep, kind of didn't finish watching it. And yeah, so I messaged my sister and said, you know, as well, oh my goodness, just watching that, horrendous, you know, like, wow. So yeah, I'd really recommend that. She, you know, what a talented lady. I mean, she's obviously got that incredible voice, and you know, obviously she tragically lost her husband, didn't she? And you know, when her children were kind of quite young, and yeah, very kind of sad really. But she just seems such a, you know, pretty down-to-earth lady. She made me laugh because she obviously, like so many of us, loves shoes, and you know, she's got like this vast collection of shoes and, you know, all of these kinds of things. So kind of very, you know, she was very likable. Yeah, very likable. And yeah, just so shocking when you watch that last scene. You know, it was very harrowing to watch, I have to say. So that was the first thing that I watched that was really good. Then I watched, it was again another Amazon, another Amazon Prime, because it came up, you know, when it says up next. So after the Seline thing ended, it said up next, and it was like a series called Divas. And I assume it is a series, although strangely I'm struggling to find other episodes because I quite enjoyed it. So the one that it happened to, you know, be putting on was Julie Andrews, so the lady who played Mary Poppins. Oh my goodness, what a lovely lady she is. She's such a humble lady. And you know, I mean, obviously, you know, she's very famous, and you know, she's been in lots and lots of mega films, hasn't she? So she was talking, I think she might have been talking about when she was offered Mary Poppins, I think. Yeah, and she said she was on the set of Mary Poppins, and that must have been her first kind of like big film, I think. And Walt Disney himself had spotted her, which was kind of incredible, really. Anyway, and she talked about how she was kind of like learning on the job, and sort of said like how she was having to learn at the rate of knots because she was obviously had so much to learn compared to everyone else, which, you know, very humbling really, because I don't know, sometimes you just assume that all these people are just, you know, born great, don't you? And don't really kind of need to learn at all. But yeah, so she was quite humbling. And then she said a couple of things. She said in her family, like I think she said with her son, and I assume she's got grandchildren maybe now, she said that they have this thing that they say where they kind of say, I can't remember again, I can't remember, I'm so sorry, all of my conversations just say I can't remember. It's because obviously it's been a few days since I watched it, and yeah, I've got a memory like a sieve, but it was something like, you know, oh, haven't we got it good, or, you know, aren't we lucky, kind of thing. Like basically acknowledging, you know, what a very you know, special life that they've led, really, as a result of, you know, her kind of being cast in those roles. And, you know, obviously that must have brought a lot of sort of privilege and luck and, you know, wealth and, yeah, just kind of lifestyle that they may not have obviously had otherwise. And I just thought that was so lovely that they really are very appreciative of those things. Now, I'm going to trim this one down because it's very frayed, so you'll see now what I'm talking about. So you can just go in and trim it down. And I quite like them a bit curly, so I'm going in, sort of deliberately adding a bit of a curve there, like that. Okay, so very easily you can, you know, you can trim them down. So if, you know, if you find them a little bit fiddly to make a bit narrow, you know, and you think, oh, well, actually, I'd prefer to stitch them while they're wider, then very easily you can stitch them while they're wider and then, you know, trim them down sort of afterwards. So, but I'm going to just try and, you know, do all of mine quite narrow anyway. Yeah, anyway, so it was so nice because she was such a humble, lovely lady. And then she said something else. What was the other thing she said? Oh, so then she said about something about you know, the privilege or the opportunities that she's had and the life that she's had. And she just said, you know, and I recognise that, you know, I am very lucky, and I do recognise that, you know, which again, I just thought, wow, what a lovely lady. Because, you know, sometimes you watch kind of these people and, you know, maybe they, you know, maybe it was a long time ago that they had those opportunities given to them and they've kind of forgotten what it's like to be normal people and not have those opportunities, you know. But so often you don't kind of hear people acknowledging or, you know, recognizing those really, like, yeah, privileged kind of position that they're in. And so she was so humble and lovely just to watch her and sort of see how, you know, how lucky she really counts herself to be. And yeah, just really lovely lady. So I really enjoyed that as well. And of course it showed a clip of Mary Poppins, and, you know, I haven't watched that film for years now, and I just thought, oh, you know, who doesn't love Mary Poppins? I mean, that's such a lovely, lovely film, isn't it? And it was the, you know, the clip where they're kind of, it's a lovely holiday with Mary, you know, I'm sorry about my voice, terrible voice there. Yeah, anyway, and it was so colourful and lovely on the screen, you know, just very visually beautiful to look at. And I just thought, oh my goodness, what a fantastic film that was, you know, just a real nice, feel good, you know, lovely, lovely, lovely film. So yeah, anyway, so that was really, really enjoyable. And then the very surprising thing that I watched that was, I thought, again, very enjoyable, and again, maybe not everybody would agree. So last night, you know, was kind of like, I mean, I'm terrible. I tend to go up to my bedroom pretty early and, you know, just watch TV in bed while I'm normally doing things. So I was making some bits for a sort of mini series that I've got coming up, you know, hopefully maybe even this weekend if I manage to get it finished. So I was making some things in bed whilst I was watching TV, and, you know, flicked through and thought, oh, you know, what shall I put on? Anyway, I went on Netflix and I thought, well, I'm just going to see what's the, you know, recently added. Anyway, I didn't need to do that because as it came on, it was saying, you know, #1 film in the UK today. Now, this one I will trim down because you can probably see it's got these big frayed edges and it's also very wide. So I will trim this one down. This is also much thicker material. So, you know, I said, you know, try and use thinner material. This is thicker. So I shall have to see, you know, what I think to this. I might kind of decide it's a little bit too bulky, but hopefully it will be okay. Yeah, so it came up on the #1 film in the UK today. That was yesterday. Might not be #1 film now, obviously. And it was called Family Affair. And it was with Zac Efron and Nicole Kidman. Now, I have to say, I haven't seen Nicole Kidman in anything for ages. But always, you know, always enjoy films with Nicole Kidman. She's very beautiful, isn't she? And, you know, lovely to watch. And let's be honest, who doesn't like Zac Efron? So, yeah, I mean, I think he's very handsome. I mean, obviously very young for me. But he's very handsome. So, and I find him quite a good actor, to be honest, because he's played a lot of different parts. So I'm not saying that he had to, like, act his socks off for the film last night, you know, but, you know, I think he's quite a versatile actor. So anyway, it was a love story, kind of cheesy chick flick girly kind of movie, and I just thought, do you know what, they hardly make any films like that anymore. And, you know, who doesn't love a chick flick? Who doesn't love a bit of Zac Efron? Who doesn't like a bit of Nicole Kidman? And yeah, I turned it on with a bit low expectations because I just thought, oh, you know, this is going to obviously be awful. It was only a 12. So I just thought, well, you know, is this going to be one of those kind of weird, almost like a teen movie type thing? it was so good. I really, really, really enjoyed it. So again, said to my son, oh my goodness, I've just watched that film. Well, whilst I was still watching it, said, honestly, this is such a good film. I would well recommend it. So yeah, a family affair. It's called. It's on Netflix, and it's Zac Efron and Nicole Kidman. Really, really, really enjoyed it. Like when it finished, I thought, oh, do you know, that's probably one of the nicest films I've watched for ages. A little bit cheesy, a little bit kind of well, very, very chick flicky, but really just what the doctor ordered kind of thing, like just light-hearted, nice, left you with a nice glowy feeling. It was really just a nice film to watch. So yeah, if you have Netflix and you're wondering what to watch, I would well recommend that. It was just a light-hearted watch. I mean, like I say, not like a fantastic epic storyline, or it's not going to go down as a classic movie or anything like that, but just nice to watch something quite light-hearted and fun, to be honest, because I don't know really what's happened to chick flicks, but they don't really seem to make them anymore, do they? Well, I mean, I don't feel like they do. And yeah, it's sad really, isn't it? And a bit like, when we were growing up, well, when I was growing up, there was all these like great big power ballads, like Whitney Houston, obviously she'd belt out those love songs, and Mariah Carey, and well, I guess Celine Dion and people as well. They would be making those really like intense love songs, that were really like loud and sort of intense, and yeah, really kind of like got you kind of thinking, oh, what a fantastic song. And I just thought, actually, do you know what? They don't seem to make songs like that anymore either. So, yeah, I don't know. Those types of things don't seem to be very in vogue anymore, do they? And, I think that's a shame, to be honest, that they don't seem to make, like, love songs. They don't seem to make chick flicks. So all of those things seem to have, just gone out the window, don't they? Which is all a bit of a shame. But yeah, maybe they're just not of interest to young people nowadays, or maybe they're not of interest to any people. But I thought that's a shame, because I mean, I used to love those kind of, intense love songs and the chick flicks and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, anyway, so yeah. If you're looking for a chick flick that you have never seen before, I would well recommend that one. It was very enjoyable. So this one, I've stitched this a little bit lopsided, if you see what I mean. It goes very thin at the back. So if I have a thinner piece, or a piece that goes thin at the back, I tend to start with the thicker piece at the front. And again, this isn't a hard and fast rule, but I just mean if I remember, then I try to start with the thick at the front. And then, so when I have that little tail, coming off at the back, then it's the thinner end, because that just seems to work quite nicely, having the thinner end at the back. So just a little bit of a sort of tip there, really. And again, I mean, it's just only if you kind of remember, and all of that kind of stuff. So there we go. Bo is asleep beside me in her bed today. So quite often she's on my bed asleep, but today she's here in her bed beside me. Oh my goodness, she looks so cute. Just glance down at her. She's looking very, very cute. Okay. I feel like there may have been a third or a fourth thing that I watched, actually, that I thought I might mention, but I can't think now what that was. Well, maybe there wasn't then. Right, so now it's going pretty skinny, if you can see that. So I'm going to leave it here. So I'm just going to go in there, obviously turn it over, and then stitch it here. Oops. Stitch it there at the back. And then what I'll do, I'll just cut off that sort of skinny tail type part. just go through there like that. Oops. There we go. Okay. So again, just sort of snip that down. This one's a bit threaded. I don't mind that too much, to be honest. So I'm just going to leave that. But, you know, again, I mean, obviously if the threads were, you know, sort of bothering me or anything, I could just trim that down at this point. So there we go. So I just want to say a massive thank you to anyone who's placed an order in the last week. I really do appreciate your, you know, support and everything. So, yep. And that's, you know, either on my Etsy shop or on my website. There we go. And also thanks to anyone who's left us super thanks or bought a coffee on my Ko-fi or on my Buy Me a Coffee page or anything. So, yeah, thank you so, so much. I did do a bit of a restock last week in my shop on my website. So that's my shabbydabbydoodah.co.uk. Unfortunately, I haven't done a restock video as yet. I know I've talked about this before, but otherwise I just feel like, oh, you know, I don't want to be constantly kind of offering things, you know, for sale in my shop or anything, or on my website. So yeah, I've put things in there. The problem is if you don't really do a restock video, nobody really knows you've done a restock. So it's kind of like one of those tricky situations, you know, that, yeah, it's like, I don't want to just bore everyone with, oh, look at what I've put in my shop. But I mean, having said that, obviously, you know, and I know E over at, you know, Scrapbooking with Me talks about this as well. I mean, obviously, you know, this is kind of our main, you know, well, only source of income, and for her also. So of course, you know, it's tough between not wanting to be trying to sell things all the time, but also obviously, you know, kind of need to sell things. So yeah, anyway, I will try and do a restock video, but yeah, it might not be for a week or so now. Obviously I've got to start getting my house ready for when I rent my house out. You know, that horrendous experience that I've done for the last 3 years. Well, last 2 years. So this will be the 3rd year that I've done it. So yes, that's coming up next week. So the mass making video next week. Yeah, I mean, I'll still be doing that in amongst the cleaning, or I will have to do my mass making video a little bit earlier. So to get on with the cleaning. Right, I'm just going to stop the video and rethread my needles. Hold on. Okay, so thought I would spare you all the me fiddling around with my threads. So yeah, there we go. Oh, this was some of my daughter's old dress, so I don't cut that end off. Okay. 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 Oh, I saw this advert for this thing the other day. It's called The Murder Trial Live, and yeah, it's like a travelling theatre show thing. It says it's the BBC who do it. It looks very, very fun, I have to say. You watch a kind of murder trial and then obviously act as jury to pick the verdict. And yeah, it's a travelling touring, you know, theatre thing. And yeah, it looks really good. But when I looked up the reviews weren't very good, which was a bit disappointing. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. Have you heard of this? It's called The Murder Trial Live, travelling theatre show thing, where you are part of the, you know, part of the jury. This is one led by the BBC. When I did Google it, you know, to see the reviews, it kind of looked like there was some that maybe had been done by Channel 4 and, you know, some by the BBC. So, yeah, I'm not sure whether this is something maybe that's been done before. I'd never heard of it before, but I thought, what a brilliantly fun, you know, kind of show, and very, very different. But like I say, when I looked at the reviews, they weren't brilliant. So yeah, let me know. And obviously, if you're not in the UK, do you have things like that go on where you live? You know, have you been to one? What are they like? Because I thought it sounded, you know, something really different and really fun. But yeah, like I say, the reviews not brilliant, which was a shame. But the reviews, to be honest, yeah, mainly were saying that the venues weren't very comfortable, you know, the seats weren't comfortable and things. And when you looked at sort of maybe some pictures, they didn't look great. So maybe again, maybe it would depend on where the event was actually being held as to whether it would be, you know, very good or not. I don't know. But yeah, let us know below. Have you been to one? Have you heard of them? What do you think? Do you think it sounds like super fun? Because I can't help but think it sounds very, very fun. There we go. So yes, our big military cleaning operation is going to start on, well, we're going to start it on Sunday. We'll be moving out on the Monday. So yeah, we'll do it on the Sunday, and then I will obviously finish it off on the Monday. So that's why I'm saying I might end up having to film the mass making video, you know, possibly Thursday or Friday of this week, ready for next week. Yeah, just because obviously I'll be quite busy on the Monday, and it's not even so much busy, but you know, when you've got kind of something on your mind, so I'll be feeling preoccupied, and that just then just stops my ability to concentrate. I know, I mean, it doesn't take much to stop my ability to concentrate. But so today we're hiring a it's called a rug doctor. It's a carpet cleaner. Yeah, so we're going to clean the carpets and things ready for the guests coming next week. So yeah, never hired one of those before, but hopefully it's going to be really good. So yeah, they're quite expensive to hire, so it wants to be good really, but yeah, hopefully it will be good. So I'm hiring it from a shop called Homebase. Yeah, I went in and inquired about it on Saturday, and my son is going to do the carpet cleaning because I am not very good with things like this. And in fact, to the point that with our actual vacuum cleaner, you know, at home, I mean, he actually sent me a photo on Facebook Messenger once with the Hoover in bits and just said, "Mum, don't use the Hoover again, please. This is what happens every time you do." So I don't really know what he was talking about, but yeah, maybe I'd hoovered up things I shouldn't, or, you know, but somehow I'd obviously blocked it up, and, you know, it then wasn't really working as it should be. So he's like, "Oh, you know, honestly, Mum, I don't think you should be the person doing the carpet cleaning," because, I mean, it's obviously a very, you know, intense bit of kit. So I'm just going to use some of this very pretty fabric now, because I suddenly thought we haven't done one in this yet. It's obviously a very intense bit of kit because to hire it, I mean, it's pretty expensive to hire anyway. We're going to hire it obviously for 2 days because, you know, my son's obviously at work, so he's going to be doing it this evening. You also, on top of the hire cost, which was £50 for, like, you know, 2 days, and obviously that's not including all the detergent and all that kind of stuff that you're going to be using, and, you know, all these different things. Then if you want to do your stairs, which of course I do want to do the stairs, then you have to actually buy a hose, you know, like a Hoover hose kind of thing for it. So that's another £5. The detergent, I think that was something like £16. So yeah, it's quite a lot of money to actually hire it. So I really hope it's good. But oh, what was I about to say about that? Oh yeah, so yeah, I said to my son, well, yeah, I definitely don't want to break it, because it's obviously, you know, it's obviously a serious bit of kit, because on top of all that money that, you know, you have to pay to hire it, they also, you need to go in with your photo ID, like your, you know, your driving license, to hire a vacuum cleaner basically, or, you know, carpet cleaner. So I thought, wow, I mean, this is obviously a serious bit of kit, isn't it? So yeah, I don't know how much those rug doctors are if you were buying one, but I'm guessing they must be pretty expensive if you've got to hire it, you know, by showing your driver's license. So yeah, I definitely don't want to break it or risk breaking it. So wish us luck. But yeah, hopefully he will do a brilliant job of doing it. I mean, I don't know. As I say, like, you know, I don't even know how it works. I mean, I know that, you know, some things they're like a steam clean, aren't they? Some things are obviously like a wet clean. Yeah, I honestly don't know. But my son loves doing things like that. I know I've talked about this before, but he quite likes the whole cleaning thing. And so I think he's kind of quite excited. He said to me, oh, I've always wanted to try one of those. I said, really? I'd never heard of one of those. I mean, that's the difference between him and me, isn't it? You know, he couldn't wait to try it, and I was like, I've never heard of it. So yeah, you can just tell who doesn't do the cleaning in our house very often, or who's certainly not into cleaning. But yeah, anyway, he's going to hopefully do the job, and yeah, fingers crossed it's going to be good. So I will let you know next week how the carpet cleaning went. I mean, I don't know whether some people maybe have a rug doctor at home. I don't know. I guess that depends how much they are, doesn't it? But yeah, I mean, actually, when I've mentioned it to a couple of people, and yeah, other people do seem to have heard of them. So it's obviously just me who's disinterested in cleaning products. But yeah, other people do seem to have heard of them, and actually other people kind of said about places that you could hire them. So, you know, they're obviously kind of like freely available to hire generally from, you know, many places. So yeah, anyway, to be honest, so long as it works, that's all I'm really worried about. So there we go. Yeah, and then obviously the cleaning will start. So, and I know I've talked about this before, but it's because you have to really clean like you wouldn't clean normally. So, you know, everywhere's got to be clean, like, you know, I have to clean the oven out and all of that kind of stuff. You know, that generally I wouldn't really be cleaning my oven out, you know. It would only be very rarely that I would clean my oven. So, yeah, it's just those types of things that, you know, you're going to have to kind of clean things that you might not necessarily clean otherwise. So this is that silky fabric. I'm going to cut the tail end just with the pinking shears there. So like that. Okay, and then we'll do the last one here. So there we go. So these are also another thing that would be a fantastic TV project. You know, definitely, you know, ideal for just watching TV and just do a bunch of these. You know, they're going to be, yeah, pretty good, to be honest, to do watching TV. I have done these before watching TV, and, you know, because all you need to do is obviously cut your strips and then just take your needle and thread with you. Or, you know, just take a couple of fabrics with you, and then you can cut your strips at the same time as you're doing them. So yeah, just ideal for while you're watching TV, to be honest. Well, that's if you watch TV like I do and, you know, don't want to actually know what's going on in anything that you watch. Maybe you prefer to actually watch what you're watching and know what's going on. If you're anything like me and you like to be doing something at the same time and missing everything that's going on in the program, then this is another one of those ideal things to do. Right, there we go. So that one was a very short piece of fabric. So I've only got 4 ruffles there, but I mean, again, it looks pretty, doesn't it? So, you know, you don't really need to have many ruffles. It's, you know, it's going to look cute anyway, so there we go. Right. Okay, so that looks very cute, doesn't it? So I'm just going to pull in a pocket because, and I know I said this when I did these before, I personally wouldn't probably use these on a page as such. I would probably use them on a pocket. So for example here, I mean, these are some of my little collage masterboards, like what we put together in the video on Friday. I would maybe just have one of these, like, you know, on a pocket here, and then, you know, decorate it up with, I mean, I'm not saying this because this is obviously not really going to go, but, you know, a cluster there or something like that. Or, you know, perhaps you'd put the ruffle on there. Something like that, you know, is how I personally quite like to use these little ruffles. Yeah, I mean, that's not ideal, to be honest. Let me just try and find something else that might look a little bit better. So here I've got this cute little piece. So I've got lace already running down here, but what you could do is, again, you know, just have like a little fabric ruffle at the top. I mean, how cute does that look? They're so gorgeous, aren't they? And then, you know, I said about if you wanted to, you know, decorate them up. So here I've just got some bling, and again, I do have the trim packs now in my shop on my website. So yeah, if you're looking for this black bling trim, I've got some on my website now. I mean, how gorgeous does that look, just running down that side of that kind of pocket? It's so cute, isn't it? Let me see if I've got one more just to kind of demonstrate another one. Okay, so this is one of those little foldy flips. This is just my perfume papers, and yeah, again, you could maybe have something like that just off at the side. Very, very cute. I mean, to be honest, doesn't even need anything else on there. It just looks gorgeous just with the ruffle, doesn't it? Try a different sort of colour. Maybe not that one, maybe this. I mean, how cute does that look? So again, put some bling on. I mean, I love them with the bling, I have to say. The bling looks really gorgeous. I've also got just this little heart here, so you could kind of decorate them with something like that. You know, different ways that you can do them. You could decorate a tag or something. These are a little bit addictive once you start looking at all the different things that you could put them on. It's kind of like, oh, what about this? What about that? You just, oh, well, that's another little envelope. But yeah, just, you know, you could put them in the center as a little clasp type thing on an envelope or something. So loads of different ways that you can use these. I mean, you can of course use them as well on the edge of a page, you know, or on a page, directly onto a page rather than on the pockets. I personally quite like them onto a pocket, you know, instead. But that being said, you know, I would definitely use these on a page as well. So yeah, just really hope that you like them. Let's just do a quick count of how many we did. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. So we've done 15. I've got loads of fabric here left to do. So I would just take this with me when I'm watching TV tonight and stitch all of those as well. And yeah, really hope that you like them. They are super cute, aren't they? And yeah, just another really handy thing to have in your stash, because obviously if you were doing a journal, you wouldn't want to stop, you know, making your journal just to stitch a hand stitch ruffle. Just having a bunch ready made that you can just keep in a container are, you know, just ideal, aren't they? And again, you can obviously use up a whole bunch of fabric scraps in the meantime. So yeah, really hope that you like them. Don't forget to obviously you know, whoops, check over to my website to see my restock that I obviously did do, you know, if that's something that would be of interest to you. And yeah, really hope that you feel inspired, and thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it if you would give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much then. Bye.